the history of counting the Omer. Um, and it's really about a path from freedom to freedom, from freedom, in other words, Exodus, to revelation at Sinai, with Shavuot. So each year, the 7 week journey from Pesach to Shavuot offers us an invitation to grow in awareness, in compassion, in connection, and in presence. Rooted in ancient tradition, this sacred period is both a spiritual pilgrimage and a personal process of soul growth. As we count each of the 49 days between freedom and revelation, we're given the opportunity to pause, to reflect, to cultivate awareness, and align our lives with our deepest values. Counting the Omer allows us to explore who we are and how we want to show up in the world through the lens of the seven lower sefirot, which I'll get into shortly. Divine qualities that serve as building blocks for personal and spiritual growth. Each week focuses on one sefirah, and each day explores how that weekly energy intersects with another aspect of the divine, one of the other sefirot. So it's a 7 by 7 matrix that I'll get into in a moment. Through this intersectionality, good word, we're invited to embody each trait in a more nuanced and integrated way each day. Its roots were first described, that is, counting of the Omer, in Leviticus 23, which we just read, lines 15 to 16. You shall count for yourselves from the day after the Sabbath, which has become actually the day after the second day of Pesach, from the day you bring the Omer, from the day you bring the Omer of the waving. 7 complete weeks shall there be. And by the way, the next couple lines I went to Sfaria. The next couple lines are all about those 2 loaves that Renee and Mark did the did the teaching on, and the story, the lovely story, and Renee chanted. So the biblical roots here of this whole thing is that from Leviticus. Originally, it was a harvest counting ritual, marking the days between the offering of the barley at Pesach and the wheat at Shavuot. By the way, just curious, how many of you, before I'm about to give you the answer, thought or think that every day they're bringing some barley or wheat or whatever it is to the temple? Is it every day? Did you think, or were you wondering? Or is it just the first day and then the last day? Anybody want to speak up?
Well,
Okay,
the
Reb
temple is a
Devorah.
long way away, so probably not every day.
Correct. It talks about the first day and that being the barley, and the last day being the wheat. I checked that with ChatGPT, because I didn't know. I never really had it straight, but that's what it is. But you are to count clearly 49 days in between, 7 complete weeks. Originally, originally it was marking this barley and wheat, but as Jewish tradition evolved, so did the meaning of this counting. No longer tied solely to agriculture, it became a spiritual journey from freedom to revelation, from the physical exodus to the moment we symbolically received Torah at Sinai. Then it evolved over time during the rabbinic period, which was, say, after the destruction of the Second Temple, at least, and Reb Mark, please feel free to correct me, to the sort of the timing of the Muslim conquest in 600s. This was considered the rabbinic development, and at that time of the Mishnah and the Torah and the Talmud, the Omer count took on a religious significance as a mitzvah, practiced each night with a blessing. Our sages saw it as a preparation for the heart and soul of receiving Torah, getting ourselves ready, not just as history, but as ongoing revelation. Counting the Omer became a daily act of intentionality, helping us to elevate each day and prepare once again to receive God's gift of Torah. In the 16th century, the mystics, the Kabbalists of Sfat, including Rabbi Isaac Luria, the Arizal, reimagined the Omer as a system of spiritual refinement, drawing on the Eitz Chaim, the tree of life. And Reb Mark, could you show the first Eitz Chaim? Yes. And let me just stop here for 1 minute. Prepping for this, I got to read about Eitz Chaim, or tree of life, trees of life. And of course, this is our Kabbalistic tree of life, but many, many cultures have a variation on this theme of, and if you can see my necklace here, um, after we're done with the screen share, or maybe you can see it, my necklace. Thank you, Red Mark. It's a tree of life, and I get so many compliments on it. It has not, it's a real tree. But this is our Kabbalistic tree of life here. which we are all trying to be, I am at least speaking, trying to become more and more familiar with every day. Obviously ties into a lot of Musar teachings and so forth. So this is the full 10 sefirot. We focus for these 7 weeks on the lower seven, the top three being really kind of sublime and a little bit much to practically work with during these 7 weeks. That being Keter, Chokhmah, and Bina. Keter, the crown, Chokhmah being wisdom, Bina being knowledge. And sometimes you'll see Da'at kind of in between them, lower down, as another kind of variation on the whole knowledge, wisdom, discernment theme. But those three in particular up top, we are kind of they're kind of too much for us to kind of be fathoming during this period. But the seven lower ones are where we get a little more pragmatic. And I'm going to quickly just reiterate these seven because repeat, we did it, and some of us were at some of the earlier sessions and some of us weren't. But the one on the right in purple, this is Joanne's interpretation of it, chesed, loving kindness, compassion, generosity. It's expansive and giving. It's the flow of the divine love made manifest through our actions and hearts. Gevura on the left, strength, discipline, boundaries, limits, provides the necessary boundaries to channel this love. It helps us stand in our truth with clarity and courage. Tiferet, harmony, balance, and this is where the one on the right and the left come together in Tiferet. Harmony, truth, integration. Tiferet's the balance between them where strength and love meet. It is often associated with compassion and spiritual beauty. Moving on down, Netzach on the right is persistence, ambition, determination. It calls us to stay the course. Keep striving. Trust that our efforts actually matter. Hod on the left, humility, awe, and surrender. Hod teaches us to receive, to appreciate, to recognize the beauty in what we cannot control. It's a posture of sacred listening, something I studied a lot in my Hashpa'ah training. And they come together in Yesod, which we're going to focus on in a few minutes. Foundation, bonding, connection, integration. Yesod is the foundation upon which relationships, communities, and intentions are built. It is the channel through which divine energy flows into manifestation. And that leads us at the bottom to Malchut, divine presence, sometimes called Shekhinah, vessel, emergence, embodiment, leadership, like Melech, king. Melech is Malchut is the vessel that holds all the other sefirot. It's about showing up fully in the world with dignity, integrity, and presence. I think in our own readings from the workbook Reb Mark shared, the top three, the Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferet, they are more of the heart and the emotional aspects, whereas the next three, you start to move into some action and relationships with Netzach and Hod and Yesod. All of them, all these connections to the ultimate sefirah of at the very bottom of Malchut Shekhinah, they must go through Yesod. So these are my words now. Yesod's kind of a gateway, the one we're going to talk about today, this bonding effort. It's a gateway. It's kind of unlocks the key to to Malchut, and it kind of forges all the others together such that we can achieve Malchut. So those are some of various readings I've read about it, and I think it comes together pretty clearly for me, and now I hope for you. Reb Mark, if you could move to the next slide and then the next one after that. I'm sorry, just that one for a moment. Sorry. That one, yes, is good. And this is Joanne's interpretation of it again. And I love it because she focuses on these lower seven, with the top three being love. They're so much about the heart and the emotions, whereas the next three get into loving, more the action, showing you're loving, and then ultimately evolving into Malchut. Okay, so the next slide, please. Thank you. Joanne is nothing if she's not colorful, right, Anna L? So Anna L is also a close friend of Joanne's. So what Joanne has done here is a fabulous slide that I love as my sort of my math geeky head too, as well as my love of color. So she has each week crosshatched, if you will, with the others. Let's go row by row. So if you take a look at the first row, not column, but the first row, that would be chesed, which she has used purple for chesed. And each day is kind of typified with one of the other seven sefirot. So the first day of this whole counting is chesed shebechesed, top left corner, purple in purple. Blue is her color for Gevura. So day two is Gevura Sheba Chesed, still wrapped in Chesed there. Tiferet is green, wrapped in Chesed. Netzach is yellow, wrapped in Chesed. And so forth, all the way through to Malchut on the far right corner, which is gold. Malchut is beautifully gold, and it's wrapped around in the Chesed. And so on and so forth, all through the 49 days. I was teaching this to a group at my bricks and mortar shul the other day, and one of our participants had a great uh, kind of way of expressing this. It helped me a lot. And he said that the way this works with 7 by 7, it's like you have the sefirah of the week. We are now, if you go down to the sixth row, we're now in Yesod, which she has red, as you can see. Um, but each day is a different lens on Yesod. So the first day of this week, which we're just about completing now, actually, would be Chesed Sheba Yesod, purple wrapped in red. Second day is Gevura, blue wrapped in the red, and so forth, all the way to bingo, all the way to the far right. We have Malchut Sheba Yesod, which is today. You can see it there on the far right of row 6. And we're coming to the end of the counting of the Omer soon. But this is where we're going to focus in a few minutes, which is that far right side of line 6, Gevura, Malchut or Shechina Sheb Yesod, that is within. You see how it's wrapped within Yesod. Okay? So I just love this chart and I wanted to share it with you all. There's one other point I wanted to make on this. Let's see. I think maybe we want to. Oh, yes, this was one other comment, and you probably saw it in the worksheet, the workbook that Reb Mark shared, which is there's also a visual that maps these 7 sefirot on the human body. And Yesod, I don't have that slide. That's just I'm talking to it, but it's in your workbook. Um, and it maps the sefirot on the parts of the body, and you can imagine where Yesod is really where the reproductive organs are. And that is not accidental. That makes a whole lot of sense because Yesod is about bonding. I think we can show the next slide for bonding, yes, if you would. Um, in Hebrew, and then the next is in English. I just wanted to share some of Joanne's beautiful art with you all. Yesod. In this week of Yesod, may we build strong foundations. It's all about foundations and deepen and bonding and deepen our connection, big word this week, to those we love. And that part of the anatomy, frankly, this parent-child bonding, and this was from, again, in one of the other workbooks, parent-child bonding, when you think about it, back to the reproductive organs, is really the ultimate bond. I mean, what can be stronger than a parent-child bond, right? And when you talk about relationships. So it makes a ton of sense. It is, and we can keep that up for a moment, mutual relationship of trust and equality. The strong bonds of family and friends become the foundation of who we are. It's all about this bonding this week that we're just completing. Um, and Rabbi Richie Address, who is one of our other rabbis, and actually, Reb Mark was on his podcast about 6, 8 months ago. And he talks often about the theology of relationships. He said it's all about relationships. And we can talk about that a bit if we like as well. But it's all about relationships with Yesod and having these strong connections and foundations to those we love. That's what this week is about. So, with that, one other thing I want to say about this week, the sixth week of the counting of the Omer Yesod, which is it's kind of like the 6 days of creation, right? It's kind of like all this work is getting done in 6 weeks, in 6 days in the Torah, and this is the sixth week, and we've been working hard. We had heartfelt sefirot, and then we had action-oriented sefirot, finishing up this week with Yesod to get ready for Malchut, kind of like we get ready for Shabbat. So it's a kind of a neat parallel there. Um, and now I think we just keep up the Yesod picture if we could. What I'd like to do is talk about today, which you saw on that right-hand corner of the right-hand side of that sixth row, which is Malchut or Shekhinah that is within Yesod. And the teaching for today is that healthy bonds and relationships bring out the best in others. You can lead the way towards righteousness and goodness in your relationships, or together you can bring one another down. You're in control of your relationships. This means you have responsibility for maintaining them and pruning them when they become unhealthy. Theology of relationships. So today, and before we part this evening, I'll give you a couple words from Rabbi Jacobson. Take on the leadership role. This is about Malchut, Sheb Yesod, leadership, sovereignty, kingdom, authority. Take on that leadership role and be, sounds like Gandhi, be the friend, parent, child, or colleague that you want to be. Notice which relationships you find easy to take responsibility for. Listen closely if you can, because I'd love to open up a little bit of conversation in a minute. Asking you to notice which relationships you find easy to take responsibility for. Think of the relationships today in your life and the ones you put energy into, and which ones where you kind of hang out waiting for the other person to reach out to you. Make the effort. Which relationships do you feel like your best self? And which relationships bring you down or cause you to behave in ways you're not proud of? So, like to open it up for a little conversation there. If we could go back to the gallery view, perhaps. I'll go back to my gallery view. Uh, we got it? Yes, thank you. So, with that prompt, and we are going to do some breakthrough rooms in a few minutes, but I'd like to just stick with that prompt for a moment, some comments. How about some relationship discussions? Talk about it if you care to. Which ones you find easy, which ones you find hard, where do you make an effort? I think you got it. Susan, please. You have to unmute.
Yes, I just did.
Got it. Thank you.
Before we get to the relationships, I would like to ask a question.
Sure.
The first part of the how you started the discussion about talking about the Omer and the counting and the different
Of course.
sefirah. I'm curious about how the different colors were assigned to each one of the sefirot, and what connection does each color have to the attributes that define that particular sefirot? In other
I
words,
wish I had invited
was-
Joanne, but she runs her own meeting at 9, so she couldn't come. Could we put that slide back? Or Anna El could speak to it too. I saw a hand
I
raised.
could speak to that because I
Sure.
was with her as she was developing it.
Yes. Okay.
She is so brilliant. And I do believe that she talked to Goldie Milgram with the idea of the hug. That's like a hug of the one on the outside, which is the weak. In terms of the color combinations, I personally don't agree with any of the color combinations. I mean, I just think that all of the colors, because that's why I put up this picture, the rainbow, the prismatic sharing of the light, that it's in all of the things. But this is a brilliant way of, if you ask me, sharing a concept. You know, it's a chart. It's scientific in a way. The way that she, like you said, almost mathematical.
Yeah.
But the idea is that the color of the week is purple for, let's say, Chesed, where the color of the week for Malchut is gold, and then each.
But why did they pick purple for Hesed, and why did they pick a gold for the other one? What's the significance of choosing that color? That's what
I can't tell you that because Zalman has different colors and all these different people have different colors. So I don't go with, that's why I'm saying, I don't actually go with that. But I think it's brilliant for anybody, you know, to just help them realize it's a visual of one sefirah within another sefirah.
Right. But it's a great question, Susan. And Joanne couldn't be here. I will try to get an answer for you. I may be seeing her tomorrow. She's a friend and she lives near me. So I will try to get it. And I have your email because you were kind enough to send me your poem. So I have your email. I will get you an answer. Okay. Okay. I think there's intentionality. I'm sure there is. And certainly Malchut, I can get the gold. I got that one. Yesod foundation red. I mean, you could have put red for Chesed, I guess, but she chose it the way she did. Well, I'll ask her.
Yeah.
Any other? Did I see some more hands? So want to talk about this or want to talk about anything else?
So I just put in the chat
Yes.
one interpretation of these colors, and Joan is using different colors. but there are there are colors in Kabbalah that are assigned to different energy centers. We all know, the expression being red with anger. So I'm not looking. I don't see. Okay. What did she assign red to?
Yesod.
Okay. So I'm looking at what I put into the chat. Red is oftentimes associated with Gevurah, symbolizing strength, restriction, judgment, and the desire to receive in order to share, likened to blood. So, you can make of it what you want, but as far as what Joan had in mind, we'll have to, Shosh will get back to us.
I will get back to you all if you'd like, even, but certainly to you, Susan. Thank you for the question. Devoralesk.
Actually, in that chart that Rabbi Mark put up, it doubles up. It's each horizontal line is a color, but the two that are on the same plane are the same color. So
Exactly, intentionally. So,
which is not the case in this kind of chart.
in this chart,
Yeah. So the one that Rabbi Mark has in the chat only has 5 colors.
Oh, I didn't look at what he has in the chat. Okay. And Anna L is saying some people use orange for Yesod. Okay.
Okay, so I just had an observation while you were speaking, and I thought it's kind of interesting that all of these sefirot exist in our bodies, but when we start, and Malchut is our grounding place, right? But when we start up here in the more spiritual plane and bring ourselves down into the body. And it seemed kind of makes more sense to be like start in the grounded place. Anyway, it's just something I thought of in terms of why we go down instead of up.
And you can go backwards if I believe Meira Gale didn't she take the Omer backwards or something in one of her
The reverse Omer, that was in the August to
Right. Okay. Right. So I mean it's it's a construct, right? I don't know that there's any absolute about any of this. It's again just like Midrash or so forth, but it's an interesting one, and it obviously raised some interesting questions.
So Shosh, before you move on, I just want to point out that Malchut, when you're describing it as sovereignty or leadership, the in our lives, listen to the Shoresh. What's the Shoresh? What word does Malchut share its Shoresh with? Devoralesk is not eligible to answer this question.
Right.
Malka, queen?
Yeah, it could be Malka or what?
Melech.
Melech. You weren't eligible either, Shosh, but I didn't
I'm
say
sorry,
it. So
but you didn't.
you still win a prize.
Thank you.
Yes, that's right. So Melech, it makes a lot of sense how Malchut takes on the meaning of sovereignty and then, of course, leadership when we associate it with Melech or Malka.
Yeah, and in the
I would use purple for that one because it's royalty, and royalty wears purple.
Right.
I don't think there's any absolute here. So, if Susan, when you design your own, use what colors make sense for you. But this is the ones that Joanne chose, and her work is nothing if it's not colorful. I love her use of color. In the sheet that from our workbook from Reb Markets, I don't know if you can see this because I have a blur background, but this sheet, week 6, day 42, which we're going into Malchut, also talks Shekhinah, the presence, the feminine presence, as another alternative term for this 7th sefirah that we're going to start next day after tomorrow, the 7th whole sefirah, and we'll start with Chesed Sheba Malchut and then Gevurah Sheba Malchut, but it's also Shekhinah. It's this presence, this divine presence. So gold seems okay to me, obviously to Joanne. So how about some thoughts about bonding and relationships in your lives? Can you speak to some where you feel you're helpful, and sometimes maybe when you're not as helpful? Actually, again, Reb Jacobson has some interesting questions about bonding. Might stimulate some thought here. Does your bonding inhibit the expression of your own personality and qualities. You're so connected to somebody that you can't even be your own self if you're kind of overly bonded. Or could it overwhelm the person with whom you're bonding? Any thoughts? Marlena, you have to unmute.
I'm gonna make up my own prompt.
Fine.
Um, a week and a half ago, my mom went to the hospital, and a few days ago, she went to rehab. And what's been interesting to me is I've been very calm and very present. But what's more interesting and what I've really been thinking about is to fall in love with someone in a different way or in a new way and in a deeper way.
Hmm.
Because my mom has been losing some memory for a while, and I thought it wasn't as much fun to be with her. Although I loved her and was with her, I didn't enjoy it as much. But now I enjoy it with everything in me.
Hmm.
Not because I thought about it, but I'm conscious of it. So,
Beautiful.
conscious love. What can I say?
Conscious. And it kind of can, you trigger a thought for me, which is that it can supersede death. In other words, you've got some bonds with your dad, Oliver Sholem, right? Bonds that go beyond when someone leaves this earthly plane and you're still bonded. It's there. So, Anna L.
I just want to talk about my dogs.
Okay, good.
I am really bonded to my dogs. I mean, obviously my family, but these creatures, they need us. I mean, they really do, and they can intuit how we're feeling, and they come over to like cuddle us if we're not feeling so well. And they tell us exactly what they want, even though they don't use words. I don't know. I think that I had to add in both my animals and my trees and all the plants around my house.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Um, and so, can you think, I can, for example, but I don't want to talk too much, that you can, sometimes if you bond too much, you might be overwhelming them. You might overstate your presence with them. Anybody, does that resonate with anybody there? I think
Well,
I might do
sure.
that occasionally.
And if both people do that, there's a codependency going on.
Right, co-bonding, codependency.
But
Okay,
not with dogs.
not
Dogs,
with what?
not with dogs.
Okay,
Dogs, you can overlove them all you want, and they
Inter-
want more.
interesting. Cool. Okay. So with those as sort of the beginning thinking, and again, we want to show leadership in this context. Take on leadership. I love this phrase, to be the parent or the friend or the child or the colleague that you want to be, the change you want to see in the world, right? Be the parent that you want to be and colleague and so forth. And all about the relationships. And we all have so many, including with animals and trees and so forth, so many relationships in our lives. So I'd like you to think about them for a bit. And maybe Rabbi Mark, I'm going to say some prompts for some breakthrough rooms. We can break into some breakthrough rooms for a little bit. And
So we're
yeah.
going to need to know who wants to go to breakthrough rooms. If you have, let's do it as we usually do. If you have your video on now, and it's just going to be two to a room. And you don't know what the prompt is yet, but you know that it will be a safe place to be with a fellow or sister Moshnik. So, okay. So give me a second here.
So turn
There's
on
only
or
a
off.
there's only a few of us going into rooms, and one. Mira, pal. Hi, Mira. Okay.
Hi, Mayor.
Where are you? Okay. Hold on a second. Give me a moment. And now, where are you? How do I find her if she just opened?
Do you
Dvorah?
need some help?
Well, I started. I have the almost ready, but I don't see Meira in the list.
Oh.
I can skip it if
No,
that's
we
the
need
problem.
you.
Well, then why don't you, if you stop and start again, since it's not a huge group, then she should
Okay.
show up.
Okay, fine.
Sorry, I was eating.
That's fine.
so I
Don't
took-
no,
It's
apologize.
okay. MOSh is sitting here eating too. He's done eating.
Did she come back
Okay.
on the list?
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Do
righty.
you
One
have
more. And then, who are you? Stevie Katz. Susan Ryback. Okay. I think we're ready to go.
good?
So,
Okay.
what are the prompts?
The prompts are, and so perhaps I don't know how quickly, Mark, you can type this into the chat, but there's 4 prompts. You can pick one or all 4. You probably won't have time for all 4. So pick 1 or 2 that resonate with you. Here they are. Ready? So this is for Malchut. Think about this: leadership, divine presence, and even in a better sense, the Shekhinah within bonding, related to bonding. So here's question number 1. What role does the divine presence play in your life? Question number 1. Question number 2. How are you shining your light into the world? Your light. How are you showing this leadership to the world? And how can you strengthen your connection to the spark of light inside your own soul? Good. Number 3, how is this whole Omer journey that we've been on together helping you shape the vessel in which your soul's light resides? And finally,
Helping you shape what?
I'm sorry, helping you shape the vessel in which your soul's light resides. And finally, what is emerging for you with this kind of conversation in this moment? Please.
I try to always be a conductor of light, love, and blessing. Therefore, I try to get these flowers that, hold the light, or, the light itself that reflects and refracts. And I sit in the light. And even at the workshop, the retreat, I kind of went to the corner of the lunchroom and let that light shine in so that I can use it, which I did when I came home, and kind of did some not hands-on healing with somebody. So I all the stored light, and they needed healing, so I just did that for them. And even when I put on the headpieces, it helps to shine that light and connect me to the source. And I also said that I am very much a listener to divine direction. And in fact, I had divine direction today. I listened and I was so happy. So, Debarti.
Shamati. Just want to ask, have you always been like that, Anna L., like back in Lamberton? Or has this been a
No.
learned?
No, I had my own healing crises, many, many, many of them. No, but
Okay.
maybe for about 30 years, though.
Oh, that's a good time. Any other sharings? Okay. It's okay. It's all good. Reb Mark, before we go for the closing, which we're going to again sing our Nigun, and Reb Mark will sing the Nigun, and then I'll lead the blessing and the counting of the day, and Reb Mark can explain why we need to count the day, otherwise the blessing is incomplete, as he shared with me just before. But before, I want to give you a sort of a homework if you choose your mission, if you choose to accept it, from Reb Jacobson regarding today, which we're just about to, the light, I think we're all on the East Coast. Are we all anybody not on the East Coast on this call? Okay, so it's already the next day. And so we are into Malchut of Yesod. And his suggestion for today, tonight, tomorrow, is to emphasize and highlight the strengths of the one with whom you primarily bond. Or it could be a few people, but emphasize and highlight. Think about this. Think about that person or dog and with whom you primarily bond, and relish it, cherish it, absorb it, enjoy it as we start to move into Malchut tomorrow night. Okay?
Hashem Yichud Kodesh Brichu Ushechentei הנני מוכן ומזומן לקיים מצוות עשה של ספירת העומר, של ספירת העומר, של ספירת העומר, של ספירת העומר. שבע שבתות תמימות תהיינה, שבע שבתות תמימות תהיינה. ספירת העומר, של ספירת העומר, ספירת העומר, של ספירת העומר.
Now, if everybody would like to unmute, please, I think there's not so many of us, so we won't be too cacophonous, but it might be lovely to say the bracha, and then Mark put up my last slide, which will after we do the bracha, and I'll read, and you can share with me the day. But first, let's do the bracha, okay? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al shirat ha'omer. Okay, and today is day 42, which is 6 weeks of the Omer, and b'ivrit it's hayom shnayim v'arba'im yom shehem shisha shvuot la'omer.
Yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 dai. Shosh, any?
Oh, I just want to say toda rabah, everybody who came. I really enjoyed preparing this, and I just find the Omer teaching fascinating. I'm trying to study a little Musar, which gets into these sefirot in the context of being, as I said at the beginning, ways to a better life. Really.